All right. Meeting is called to order. Can we do a roll call, please?
Committee Member Winterson?
Here.
Did we hear you in your mic?
Here.
Okay, thank you. Committee Member Herman?
Here.
Committee Member Musgrave?
Here.
And Committee Member Dukes?
Here.
Thank you.
All right. And then do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
I'll second that.
All right. Everybody in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Public comment. Kelly, what are you doing here? I thought you'd escaped these.
Okay.
All right. Feel the need to say anything? You good? Okay. No public online. So, old business 6.1. Fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty initiative. So, Deborah and I can update you all. Kelly came and graciously introduced us. Brittany was there to help out. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Kelly. And it passed unanimously. It was very non-contentious.
And I should let you all know that some of my tree-hugging friends are trying to encourage me to do the same thing, to encourage the Arcata City Council to adopt it and to go before the Humboldt County Board of Supervisors to adopt it. So.
Sweet. Thank you,
Yeah,
Brittany.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Was there specific action taken? And it
Yeah.
will be. Okay, cool.
the action was to authorize the mayor to sign
Sign.
a letter of support.
And eventually it devolves to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it all online. And Brittany, in the email I sent you, there should be a link to their website too.
Okay, thanks so.
Sorry, we're
Hello.
spoiled. Kelly always just
Just did it.
knew what to do and
Kids read our
did
minds
it.
a
And we
lot.
said, oh, yeah, that's what we meant.
We'll get there.
I can also just send you I'll just send you the link so that it's the first thing in the email that pops up.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. 6.2. Adopt updated bylaws. So since we have 4 active members of the committee. So since we only have 4, we are changing the number of committee seats from 7 to 5. We are not technically allowed to change it to 4 because that makes it so that it's more likely for us to have a split vote. So how does that work though when we only have 4 people?
They're actively looking for a 5th person.
Are they?
So that's
Okay.
something that's an open seat. It's listed in our newsletters as an open seat. If you know anybody who would like to apply, just have them apply online. The form is there. They can send their information to the mayor or to the city clerk. They can get everything that needs to be done and appoint somebody. So
I've reached out to folks. I haven't heard anything back. Kelly, did you? Okay. So the rest of the bylaws is what we've previously discussed in prior meetings. Does anybody have any questions about that? Or does anybody want to put forward a motion to adopt the bylaws?
you do have to say we're opening for public comment.
Oh, yeah. We are opening it for public comment. Kelly? Seeing no public that seeing no public that wants to comment. We're now closing it for public comment. Does anybody want to put forward a motion, or does anybody have any questions, discussion?
I move we adopt the updated bylaws.
All right.
I second it.
All right. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Unanimous? All right. Discuss the objectives of the committee and the goals for 2025. Let me get those up. So, as we discuss the goals, I think it's good to keep in mind sort of what's happening at the national level and local level, because I think there are going to be some deficits. I don't know how that's going to affect the city, but I assume it is going to affect them. So free things are good. Free and inexpensive things, or our desire to help folks find funding. So, proliferation treaty, done. Publicize the energy saving sustainable efforts the city of Eureka is currently doing and the huge use of electricity needed to pump and treat water, encourage water conservation and other energy saving ideas to save money, etc. The solar panels, etc., the city, I believe, is working on that. And I think that's going to be one of those things that's going to be hard to finance right now. All right.
Am I correct that we eliminated the Title 24 issue? The last one on here.
Sorry, trying to find it.
I know we removed it as a subcommittee group. The attachment that I provided was just the goals that you guys were working off of for 2024.
Right. This is old.
Yeah. So if you guys want to go through and identify new ones, or we can get rid of anything that's not applicable anymore.
So, Director of Sustainability, which I do totally agree with. I feel like we're going to struggle to get that one.
Yeah, I didn't remember what we intended by that. My name's beside it, but
I can tell you exactly what was intended by it because it was my issue. Apparently, there's no one on city staff whose stated responsibility it is to oversee sustainability issues. It's often the last item in somebody's job description, do things sustainably, often not defined. And one of the things that in my research I found is that cities that have directors of sustainability or some similar title, someone whose responsibility it is to make sure that we're not wasting money anywhere in the city, for instance, on huge diesel guzzling SUVs, that somebody has a responsibility for that. It's in somebody's job description, why did this happen? Who was not supervising? What is the process for making sure that whatever the purchases are or the requirements are the most sustainable within the framework of finances, funding, that sort of thing, and also staffing. But in my opinion, somebody needs to have it in their job description that you are responsible for making sure that the city as a whole, every department, every employee, is doing things and purchasing things in the most sustainable manner possible. And at the moment, or at the last time we talked about this, there was no one in the city whose responsibility that was. The closest we came was a city council direction from like 2015 maybe, saying the director of finance would report at least annually to council about sustainable issues. Kelly, help me if I'm getting this wrong, but you looked to try and find documentation that had ever been done. And apparently it has never been done. So this is something that I felt strongly about a year ago, and I still feel strongly about. And I'm willing to do whatever research, whatever assistance I can do to help the city select somebody, whoever draws the short straw, to be responsible for this, and to give a report to City Council, at least annually, to make sure that every department, every employee has this, maybe not first in their minds, but second or third. And especially now when funding is going to be so hard and when we're going to be so much on our own, I think this is important.
What about install level 2 EV chargers on utility poles? That feels like something we could eliminate, unless somebody feels strongly about it. It just ends up, it feels like,
I think we're getting level 2 chargers. We've got them down by,
the hospital.
no, well, we've got them by the hospital. We've got them several places around town. I was thinking about the one down on H Street at the engineering firm.
Yeah, and they're putting some
I
in
want to
by the
say
hospital.
SNH, but it's not SNH. Thank you. So we've got some around. So I agree with you. I think that's not as,
I think that we can leave Title 24 in there. Shockingly, I'm saying that.
leave it in.
Yeah, I think that it's a good idea still to discuss the energy code enforcement with the staff, just to find out where the pains are and if there's anything that we can do to help educate folks in general in the community. Because I think a lot of it with Title 24 is has to do with energy escaping through poor insulation. And that feels like something that's like kind of more on the public education side. And we might be able to actually help with that.
So before we leave the EV chargers on utility poles, are you suggesting that it be eliminated as one of our goals?
Yes, I am, because I think that putting level 2 EV chargers on city-owned light poles is just kind of an unrealistic idea.
So George and Ed, do you have any thoughts on the subject?
No, as long as the other charging stations are sufficient.
I don't want this to be just you and me deciding what we're going to do and not do.
Yeah.
George, do you have anything?
That's valid.
Yeah, I'm not entirely aware of all the ones that are there already. I guess there's a lot of emphasis on fast charging too, so I'm.
These were level 2,
No,
not
I'm saying I'm not sure that these. If we put emphasis on these, it might be sort of behind the curve of what people.
I think the original idea was for people who live in rentals or apartments who don't have access to their own chargers, so that they could park out on the street and charge like overnight or something.
And are these paid, or how do they work? I charge at home, so mostly
That was to be determined.
I see. The ones that exist how do they work in terms of?
I think they're all paid, are they not?
I think they're paid.
The existing level 2 chargers that the city has put in are all charge point paid ones, right? Yeah.
Oh, they're with ChargePoint. That was my next question.
Yep.
Are they part of some known?
Yeah.
Charge point, yep.
Okay.
So is this something you want to keep on the list or not?
I think that I don't know who needs to encourage it. I do think that having as widespread a charging network as possible is a good thing if we're emphasizing electric vehicles. Just
This-
not sure about the light pole part of it.
Okay, that
specifically,
was-
I guess, is maybe the.
Yeah, that was specifically something I found online that other cities are doing in residential areas, specifically heavily rental residential areas.
Yeah.
But it would cost. and PG&E would get involved, and I'm not sure I want to deal with PG&E.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like the idea was that it would be lower cost installation than anything else we might
Yeah.
do. Might
Right,
incur.
That
but
was the
not
idea.
free.
Yeah. So I guess I like the idea. I just don't know whether it.
You want to be in charge of it?
I wouldn't know how to be offhand.
Kind of sounded like a volunteer, though.
Without without any promise of achieving any particular result. I mean,
It's fine.
in terms of talking to people, if I with some advice on who to talk to,
Well, researching it, and yeah.
yeah.
Ed, are you still willing to help him since you were on there before?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful. We'll keep it on there then.
Okay.
And I'm fine with being alone on the Title 24 one. All right, and then the inspection of rentals for health and safety, energy efficiency. Example, encourage inspection and replacement of refrigerators and freezers that leak refrigerants. That was a Chris and Tyler thing, both of whom are no longer on the committee. So are there other folks that would like to step up on that one? Otherwise, we might want to let it go.
And that doesn't come under the Title 24?
No,
Okay. I mean, it's sort of related in the sense of
no,
making
not
residential
related.
things being.
no. Title 24 is really specific.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's not really.
Again, it seems like a good idea, but no, I'm not volunteering.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like a good idea, but I too am not volunteering. So
And there's nothing like that already in place in terms of what counts for
RCAA
building
does
inspection?
some things like this. RCEA does some things like this.
Guinea also.
PG&E does. They do annual inspections of gas, like furnaces and things like that.
They also I think it's PG&E that updates refrigerators for folks that make under a certain amount.
Okay, but there are other
No, I know that,
organizations that cover
Okay.
some, if not all, of this.
Yeah, and
okay.
PG&E does. So when I lived in an apartment and my income was under a certain amount, PG&E called me up and they were willing to update my fridge and bring me a brand new one. And it was not my apartment.
So can we just
I mean, it was.
Yeah, I
where I
guess
skip
lived, but-
this as being done by other people?
Yeah, let's pull that one.
Yeah.
Okay. I think, George, I'm open to you and I still working on the substitute cementitious material, the SCM.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research on that the last time around. It wasn't encouraging. It would be good to talk about it. The thing that I found was about replacing, I'm going to say this wrong, the most energy intensive part was related to the limestone, and there's ways you can replace it with other, is it calcium sources? The only trick is, in terms of any of the more exotic things, it seemed like that the uses for them were mostly mandated that you had to be the exact equivalent of Portland cement. So unless it was just an alternate way of producing the same stuff, you couldn't substitute like hempcrete or
Okay.
other more exotic things. So it was a little bit discouraging, but there was a little thread that I thought might still be useful. But then we didn't have meetings for a while, so I stopped looking at it. So yes, I would. Yeah,
Okay,
we
yeah,
could
we
look
could-
at it some more.
That sounds good. Okay, we'll leave that one on there. I'm open to leaving the solar microgrid on there.
Is a city solar microgrid at all feasible considering current situations in funding and so forth? Is that something that might ever happen? More, always more. Aha,
In that case, let's pull city solar microgrid.
Okay.
Thank you, Deborah.
I would say with the current one until it's paid off, that no, we wouldn't put in another one, which
I
is a
un-
10-year loan by payback process.
That
I
makes
understand
sense.
that
For
completely.
the current largest solar panel over water in the county.
And that one's located on which? Oh, that's at the one over on towards Cutton now. That reservoir? No, where? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Yeah.
The big reservoir over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure. I just wanted to make sure we're talking about the same one.
Well, we'll say that one's accomplished and remove it. Oh yeah, the recommend more secure places to lock bikes and repair tires, especially at transit hubs. I think that's a good one. Leave it.
That's going to be part of the Earth Center.
That's what I was thinking.
Maybe not the repair part, but the Jefferson Center is just up the street from the Earth Center, so they can go there. And
There we go.
there's also a new repair center in Arcata.
I heard about the one in Arcata.
So repair shop or I can't remember.
I forget what they're called, but it's like the community something.
So take that one off for now.
Yeah, we can take off recommend more secure places to lock bikes and repair tires.
Oh, you want to take that? You're taking that off.
With the Earth Center coming up, there's kind of
I
a
see.
focus
Yes,
on that,
yes.
yeah.
Okay.
And then, okay, I'm leaving electrify the city fleet more quickly.
I'm sorry.
Unless anybody objects, I'm going to leave electrify the city fleet more quickly, prioritizing mileage driven. I think PD, there's still an opportunity there.
I did a little look. I did some poking around on that. I found an article. I think it was not Ventura, somewhere in SoCal, that was saying we have a fully electrified police. Blah blah blah.
All Teslas.
Oh, is that what it was? Again, it's been just long enough that
Yeah.
I've forgotten the things I.
But I think it was Pasadena.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Yes, and none of them burned up, exploded, or no. Okay. Yeah, it's been. But it was at least a little bit hopeful that at least someplace had said there are police vehicle models that really were suitable. So I thought that was.
I think that's a perfect example of where a director of sustainability might come in, overseeing purchase of vehicles based on mileage driven. If it's somebody just bopping around town, an EV is perfect. I get all excited when I see the little bolts, yay! But that's something where before any department, in my opinion, including the PD, purchases any vehicles, it needs to be cleared by, or at least explained to whoever takes over this director of sustainability. Right now, there's no accountability.
Just in case you missed this, Brittany, it's very obvious, but I'm still going to say it. We're taking the proliferation treaty off that. Yeah, very obvious. Sorry. Okay. So we're definitely leaving that. Publicize. I still think publicize the energy saving, sustainable efforts the city of Eureka is currently doing is a good idea.
I think it's a great idea, and I'd love to. I'm willing to continue that, and I'd love to work with you, Brittany. Meet with you and find out exactly what we're doing and what's going to appeal to the city residents. Wow, I didn't know we were doing that. Yay, us.
Yeah, I can help with that.
And does anybody have anything that they feel like we should add to this?
Well, I have been trying for a year to talk with Humboldt Waste Management about the food composting, and they keep having new general managers or whatever they're called, and none of them will return my call. I have gone down there and actually stood at the reception desk, and whoever I needed to talk to was not in, and they would make sure that they called me. They didn't. So I'm willing to make a real pain of myself, pardon me, Jessica, and go down there, talk more, because I don't know what's going on with the food waste. All I know is they closed down the recycling center to make room for it, and nothing has happened. So
And the state mandate doesn't have any there's nobody else.
The problem with the state mandate is that rural communities are affected in an outsized way, and when the state mandated it, they didn't, with that mandate, include funds for rural communities that have no way to do massive compost, city compost. Because part of the problem is that when residents do composting, they sometimes put in things that are not compostable and can, like, I know previously, like, just like things that are very acidic. Like if
Well, it's not even compost. The only thing that's collected is green waste. So it's not
Currently, yeah.
compost unless you hire somebody to come. There's a guy in Arcata,
worm guy.
the worm guy.
There's two actually. There's the worm guy, and then there's
There's a
full,
bike.
full cycle.
Yeah.
And I think one of them, the worm guy, does a little bit of outlying Eureka.
I don't know. But
think
the point is, this is state mandated,
Yeah.
and we are behind even the rural deadline. And all I'm trying to do is get information.
Yeah.
I do believe we have a city staff person, at least one, that works on some of this. So I
Yay.
could ask for an
Okay.
update internally.
I will get in touch with you.
Yeah, that might help us,
Yeah, that'd
even
be
a little bit
awesome.
more locally for Eureka.
Yeah, that would be awesome because I know it's on the county, but also on the city. It's kind of a combined effort because City of Arcata, I think, is covered by the worm guy and the full cycle compost. I think they managed to get like enough composting going.
Do we have any examples of other rural communities who are doing better at this, or
I don't know, but I'll know after Brittany and I talk with the staff person, whose name is
Robin.
Robin.
Yeah, it's been a bit since I've talked to her about it, but she's extremely knowledgeable on it. And I know it was taking a lot of work between the city and Recology and, getting residents on board too, that, there's another bin that would have to be collected as well. And what, how does that cost get factored in? So I know there's a lot of work behind the scenes that's likely going on.
In my personal silo, a lot of people want to know when this is happening. But then in my personal silo, a lot of people compost in their backyard. So,
Yeah, we can get an update on that.
okay, thank you.
That would be awesome. And then George, is there anything that you'd like to see on this list that's not on there? And this is just kind of goals for things we can look at over the next year.
No?
no? I guess I'll say no. It's it covers some important points as it is, so maybe that's
I think if we get half of these
yeah.
even
Yeah.
headed in the right direction, we'll have accomplished a lot.
All right. All right.
And solar-powered EV charging, solar panels on buildings, solar panels over parking lots after the loan is paid off. Yeah, city. Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that.
Brittany, you want to pull solar panels over parking lots off?
I think we need to go and talk to Costco, the mall, these places that have huge parking lots. If they even covered a couple of rows in solar panels.
Yeah, I know Costco in Hawaii has solar panels covering one of their parking lots.
I've seen so many down south.
Yeah, it's worth.
So maybe we could
So we'll
change
keep it?
that to, instead of yelling at the city, we can yell at Costco.
So
And
are we technically, as the city's energy committee, allowed to write a letter to businesses on behalf of the energy committee, signing our names, asking them to look at that? Right?
Yeah.
thank you,
Me either.
because they're in the city limits.
We can definitely personally harass them, but it feels like it might have a little more oomph if we can put the energy.
I mean,
committee
looking at
behind
the
it.
purposes in the bylaws, a lot of it is to advise the city council, commissions, and city staff. There's not a lot of,
Alienating business
yeah,
owners.
correct. But I mean, it could be, an educational thing that you help
Yeah,
advise the city to, inform residents or businesses.
I think it might have just as much effect and perhaps not get us in trouble if we just talked with them individually.
That makes sense.
Sorry? Yeah. I like that. Okay.
Okay.
So, Beth and Ed, are you still willing to do that?
Which one are we
To
talking about
do the
now?
education on solar covered parking lots and so forth?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that works. Okay. So now that we have the list, Brittany, do you mind editing it and sending it to us, or I can edit it too?
I can, maybe if we both do it, make sure that we all got the same notes
That sounds
here.
good. And then we'll send it out to the group, and then we'll try and work on these for the next meeting so that we can maybe maybe if everybody can pick one thing that they're interested in and report out on information on it at the next meeting, like the SEM.
And who would I talk to about the level 2 charger stuff? In terms of in the city, or even, I guess that's the same. That would be a city thing, not trying to encourage some independent organization to do that.
Yeah,
Right.
maybe.
Kelly, is that your bailiwick now? No, city-owned
No, polls, yeah.
on poles.
mean-
Okay.
I mean, is that something that the city could get involved in since they don't own the poles? I mean, what would be the channels to even discuss that? Who would I talk?
That was part of the problem, was that PG&E was going to have to be involved.
Have a whole EV charging department. We'll probably try talking to somebody about options and what you can do for our area. So that would be them to start with.
PG&E, yeah. Oh, okay, that surprises me, but that's good. I'm glad I asked.
Yeah, they own the pole and the utility. So start with them on options that we would have for our area.
Right, okay. Yeah, trying to figure out who would fund what. It's a little complicated but it sounds like it would be some sort of an agreement between the people who own the poles and the people who wanted to run the chargers that got installed, et cetera.
Right. But if you're gonna give advice, you need to be able to know what your options are. So
Right, oh, absolutely, yeah.
reach out to them and see, and then yes, if we would
Okay.
probably have to pay for the infrastructure to go in place or add it on, or maybe they have a program where they pay for it, or, maybe they have something. So that's
Okay.
what you would be doing.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay. And do we know any contacts at all at PG&E or
Not for,
starting points?
yeah, I would just go online and look up, they have a whole department now, I don't know who's running it or who's head of it, but they do have, it's so popular.
Okay, yeah, good.
All right, since we have you, I have a question too. Title 24. Who would I talk to about just like pains with enforcement and
So our building chief is the one that enforces that. So you want to talk to him, Brittany Riley.
Okay.
I would reach out to Brittany and she can help coordinate a meeting if that's what you want to do.
okay,
Talk about enforcing of that.
thank you. All right. Anybody else have anything? I believe this was the last thing on the meeting. There is an RCEA presentation scheduled for May 5th, so When Brittany sends the invite out, please remember to respond.
I am going to be out of town May 5th, which is going to. Oh, no, but will
Yeah,
have
now that you
changed.
guys have 5 seats, you can have a quorum with 3.
Never
Beautiful,
mind.
so.
Okay, yeah,
It
no,
will
I
work.
plan to be here, so that's.
You plan to be here? Ed, are you?
Oh, yes.
Okay, beautiful.
Okay, sounds like it'll work.
Wonderful. All right, seeing nothing else. Does anybody have anything else? Public? Thanks for coming by one more time, Kelly. And thank you for all your help over the years. We appreciate you.
Yes. Thank you very, very much.
And welcome, Brittany.
See, you're not going to be able to leave either when your time is up. You're going to keep coming back because you love us so much. Or something like that.
Seeing no other business, closed.